Hi, this is the Martial Arts Business Academy and my name is John Hine. This is video blog 27 and it's called Are You Missing the Gold in Your School? Which may sound a very strange question, but unless we become really aware of what we're doing, we don't know what time is being wasted and what time is really being productive. I know for one that before I learned the 80-20 principle, which is a long time now, and I started studying marketing and business practice, that I didn't realise what was actually going on in my school. I just realised about what I was teaching and the number of students I had and being really happy with what was going on. But I actually didn't know what was going on. That was the problem as far as business was concerned. When I discovered the 80-20 principle, it came like a bolt out of the blue that 20% of what I did was getting 80% of my income, and the other 80% was effectively not being used as productively as possible. And I asked one of my assistants to do a financial check on some of the things that we were doing, and it turned out that one thing which took up very little time was bringing a proportionately large amount of income for the amount of effort being done. And when I did a bit more research, that a lot of the things I was doing actually were very time consuming but were not giving the results that we really wanted. So what's happening in your school that is really productive? Is every hour of the day being used as good as it could be? Because I know in my case it certainly wasn't. And it's not until we actually sit down and work out what we're doing that we actually find out just how effective we're really being. Because there's some things we do which simply use up time, and your time and my time are just too valuable to be consumed like that. One thing you can't create is time. Once it's used, it's used. And can I suggest that maybe you sit down like I did eventually and start working out where all the income was coming and the amount of time I was spending doing things. Do you really need to be doing those things? Could you get one of your assistants to do it? Could you outsource it to someone else at a very low cost that doesn't take up your time? And once you've identified that 20% that is really productive, then you can actually increase your income tremendously and start reaching your goals. I know, I started to. And the strange thing is, the 20% that brings in most of your income is the bit that your long-term students like the best. It's not like you're profiteering from them, it's simply you're giving them more of what they already want. Because that 20% of your students who love you to bits, who think the best thing that they could ever do is spend an afternoon, a day, an evening with you learning what you've got to teach, then everybody benefits. And of the 80% that doesn't actually bring you in financial reward, try and find out how much of that 80% is actually really good PR between you and your students. That you're actually, although it's not bringing you a massive amount of money, it may be doing the school and you and them the world of good. And then gradually pare down what of your time is completely wasted and you shouldn't be doing at all. It's a great thing to do this sort of research into your own business. And remember the old saying about the axemen, that a good tree fella spends half of their time sharpening their axe and the other 50% of the time actually cutting down trees. Because if we don't do the planning, if we don't work out what's going to be the most effective, then we are ultimately wasting our time and income and probably detracting from our own students and schools. If you've got any questions, if you've got any observations, if you've got any great stories about how you've discovered where your 20% is, why don't you drop me a line? This is John signing out. Have a really good week. Bye.